halftime about kind of what would be a good result for Ohio State in a game they were clearly going to win. Was this a good result in your guys' opinion?
I think so. I think it was a pretty good result. Obviously, Ohio State dominated the game, and I think that's what a lot of people wanted to see out of them. Defensively, we saw some aggression. They were able to take the football away, which was really good. And I think offensively, the big takeaway there is that you have a backup quarterback that can go into the game and will protect the ball and won't make a lot of mistakes. So there are definitely some good takeaways, a lower level of competition, so you always take it with a grain of salt. But this was kind of the get back on track that the Buckeyes needed.
It'll be interesting to watch the defensive tape, especially to see how they were attacked and see if they made any adjustments. And I think anytime you play as many players as they played and as many times as you get two other quarterbacks besides your starter playing reps, I think it's a good day.
I think from a defensive standpoint, they clearly got better. And I understand about the opponent that they're playing. But, yeah, they gave up some plays, but still it's about getting the confidence going with that group once again. I think they got some of that going. And I think it's also, as you guys both have mentioned, it's about also getting as many players on the field as they were able to do today.
Remember, they came into this game last in the Big Ten in tackles for loss. They had 10 in this game. They had 7 sacks. So, again, I understand the level of competition, but I'm simply saying they hadn't done any of this stuff defensively this year. And almost to prove to yourself that you can, I think this is an important game to build on. Again, as to what's going on right now, we're going to hear from Ryan Day as soon as he takes the podium for his news conference. We will, of course, take you out to Columbus. We'll run through the highlights of this one, get more post-game reaction, take you through the rest of the day in the Big Ten as well. But let's show you how this one went down between the Buckeyes and the Zips. And, of course, no C.J. Stroud this week. It was Kyle McCord, the 5-star freshman, getting the start. And first quarter with the Buckeyes down 7-0. Little shovel pass there to Chris Olave, who runs it in 5 yards for the touchdown, 7-7. That is the first career touchdown pass for McCord. Technically, that's passed. This is a little more what people have in mind when we're talking about passing. McCord to Jackson Smith and Jigba, 34 yards there. Ohio State up 21-7. Trevion Henderson, impressive again, fellas.
He's really good. I mean, he's a really good young player.
Analysis. 8 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Ronnie Hickman, one of the plays of the game here. Pick 6.
This is what you're talking about from a defensive standpoint, being able to make those plays. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
Build confidence.
The ball is the issue.
Yeah, regardless of who you're playing. I mean, make a play on that ball like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was kind of my point with the sacks and the tackles for loss, too. You're just looking to do positive things on defense, to me, just given how poorly they have performed on that side of the ball this year. Anything that you can build on feels to me like it's a good thing.
Absolutely, and I think this is one of those where you got to get into the psyche of a player a little bit, and these demons for Ohio State defensively go back into last year, and so anytime something bad happens, it kind of seeps into your mind, oh man, is this going to go bad again? You know, are we seeing some of the same things that we've seen before? And so this game does build that confidence that you can overcome some of the issues that have manifested in the past. Now, you got to be able to have that translate to when you get to some of the higher level of competition, but it's never a bad thing to get sacks, never a bad thing with TFLs, never a bad thing to get interceptions, never a bad thing for guys to take angles and get used to tackling, never a bad thing to mix up the lineup and get guys in there in rotation as well.
Right. The bad thing is that we had to wait until they played Akron to get all these things, and we're not used to that. No, seriously. I mean, this is kind of new for us looking at Ohio State. I mean, I think we've all looked at them a little different than we have in the past because they have struggled more early than they have in recent years.
But I'll say this is what college football is this year. There's really doesn't appear to be that great dominant team that's out there. Everybody seems to have some issues that they're trying to work through. And I think it's going to be exciting for us all to have an opportunity to watch.
Yeah, I understand. If you're an Ohio State fan, you say, you know, I kind of like the way that it was.
Yeah, I kind of like the old days.
where there wasn't this uncertainty. I do think, and that has been a theme, and we've talked about it a lot in the past week or two. We've seen vulnerabilities in a lot of the traditional powers, even as much as Alabama being taken down to the wire last week. We know how much Clemson has struggled this year. So this is a theme running through college football, and part of it is that all these teams are facing veteran teams this year that bring back a ton of guys. They still had all their star players leave for the first round of the NFL draft, but some of these other teams now, you're going up against fifth-year guys and in some extreme cases, even six-year guys. So some experienced teams against these powerhouses that are less experienced.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because when you look at some of the powers of college football, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Clemsons, they're sending guys to the draft left and right. And so they had a lot of turnover with their star players, the starters, the guys that are going to go out there and make the plays. Whereas you look at some of the lower level teams and all the guys who are making plays are back. You know, because it's not necessarily the guys who are going to be first-round picks or the early entrants in the draft. They're able to get those guys back in the program. And so it's kind of leveled the playing field. I think the one thing that you expect, though, is over the course of an offseason, the beginning of a football season, is that the talent level would rise to the occasion. And we see it with lower-level schools all the time where people play above their talent level. That's what you want to see with the young guys at a school like Ohio State. And
as we always say, we're holding Ohio State to a higher standard than we hold everybody else. And to your point, personnel-wise, there's that guy who got the extra year for COVID that wasn't going to go to the NFL that comes back and is a better player. So it has strengthened some of the other rosters, whereas the guys at maybe Ohio State and some of the powers, they left for the draft anyway, regardless of the COVID situation.
Sounds like basketball to me, Rever. Some
yeah,
of these
no doubt.
senior-laden teams.
No, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, you have more experienced teams nationally than we've ever had. But again, Ohio State returned the second least experience of any team, not just in the Big Ten, in the country.
Yeah.
So again, you understand, but we did see, I think, some flashes from some of the five-star talent here today, and that has to excite Buckeyes fans.
And we've seen some staffs make some changes, too. I mean, it looks like maybe Ohio State negatively on the defensive side, by way of example, Purdue on the positive side. So some staffs have changed, and that has a lot to do with it as well.
So again, we're awaiting Ryan Day when he steps to the podium.
It's a struggle. And what are you thinking when you're seeing him run?
Man, that was absolutely insane and just an amazing feeling. They actually got me, honestly, because I'm not with special teams during the week, so I had no idea. And I see Speedy waving his hand. I'm looking at the ball going the other way, and I see him catching. I see there's nobody over there, and man, that was a pretty amazing feeling. And credit, like he said, credit to the whole special teams unit, and credit to this guy for making a play and going and scoring.
Before we get too game specific, could I get a reaction from both of you, what it was like to win a game like that in overtime and be on the field for the end?
Man, for me, I try to think back in my just career of playing, and I honestly think that might have been my first overtime game that I played in. Incredible feeling to come out of there with a win. Our defense played outstanding today. They made a great play in overtime, and they just played great the whole day. And then our special teams play like that is huge, and it was outstanding. A great feeling to get out of here with a win.
Obviously, that was an unreal feeling. It was just great seeing Spartan Nation sticking with us through the entire game. We played complementary football, special teams, offense and defense all together. So, that's all what made it happen. So it was an unreal feeling seeing that.
Chris Solari, Detroit Free Press. For both of you guys, usually you don't necessarily see two flea flickers in a season, let alone that close together. Can you kind of walk us through that play, Colin Payton, particularly on your end? I think you had a defender in your face, and you had to kind of reach for the ball a little bit. What was going on there on the exchange?
Yeah, we had practiced that play a couple times this week.